As many of you have expressed interest in how to better manage your passwords, perhaps this is an appropriate opportunity to do some password management regarding your online life in an effort to put all your internet-based accounts in one secure, easy-to-access location. Once this file is created, used, and saved, I regularly email this file to my personal email address so that it is always accessible to me on any internet-based device, whether that be a tower computer, laptop, tablet, or cell phone, provided I have access to the internet. This also provides a backup of the file in the event that your computer malfunctions. If you use Google Docs, the files are saved to your appropriately named Google account. In a previous session, I demonstrated how to password protect an Excel file. This is what I have done with my Excel file that contains my internet accounts and passwords. Hence, I only need to remember one password for access to all my accounts. Of course, there are a myriad of other options for documenting your accounts, including the tried and true handwritten notebook that of course has many new and revised additions that upon your demise will be confusing for your heirs to decipher. Your choice, of course. Let's get started. For reference, I am using Microsoft Excel 2007. Depending on your version of Excel, the exact locations of the tools I will be using might not be in the same location, but are always available in Excel. If you choose to use Google Docs or OpenOffice, the process is virtually the same once you are in the file, albeit access to those files is different. I am now going to open the Excel password file recently created, which is already password protected with the word password. As you can see, I am prompted to put in the password, and I check to make sure my caps lock is off, and I type in the password. The password used for this file is passwords, Passwords, and then I click on OK. Please remember that passwords are often case sensitive, so it is important that you remember and document properly. Now, as you can see, there's nothing in this file. At this time, I'm going to work in row 1, which is called the header row, and I'm now typing the name for each column of information. In cell A1, we will call this account name. I then hit the Tab key and I move to B1. No, I'm not playing bingo, but I am moving from cell location to cell location by using the Tab key or by clicking on the mouse if necessary. In the next column, I will call this User ID. It is often necessary to create a user ID for your new account. Sometimes that can be an email address, or sometimes a required specific user ID. Next, I'm putting in the column for password. This is where I will enter the password for the specific account. I like to mark a column called Date Created so that I can document when that particular file was created. Not necessary, but sometimes helpful. I am now creating a column called Associated Email Address. Very often it is required that an email address be used so that the account can reach out to you if necessary. We do the same for a cell phone in case two-factor verification is necessary. Of course, there's always that secret question and answer, and that could happen on numerous occasions. Secret question 2 and the answer, and secret question 3 and the answer. Very often I will put in the phone number for the account, in case I need to call them for assistance. Not my phone number, but the phone number that might be used related to the account. I then, of course, make a miscellaneous for any additional notation. Of course, not every account will require this specific info, and others will require additional info. As additional info is needed, you can add those columns as they arise. As you can see, the header row titles don't all fit in the default space provided. So at this time, I will demonstrate how to adjust the width of a column using the mouse. This procedure can be done another way, but using the mouse is the fastest way to make this change. To change the width of a column, place the cursor or mouse pointer above and to the right of the column to be adjusted in the area where the column letter is visible. You can now click and drag to resize that column. I will make column A wider at this time by clicking and dragging to the right. Of course, I do the same for each column as needed. If you find that a column is too large, you can always do the same by bringing the width back. Now, as you can see, I'm making multiple changes to the column widths as a demonstration, and will then make the appropriate changes to each column as needed. However, by changing the zoom view of your spreadsheet, it might be easier to do this process, but of course the more you zoom, the less of the spreadsheet you can see. To zoom in on the spreadsheet, you can do the following. On the toolbar, tap View. Then you can tap the word Zoom, and a few preset options will appear. As you can see, 100% is presently selected because I am looking at a 100% view of this sheet. In this example, I'm going to change it to a 200% view so you can see the difference. I click on 200% and click OK. And now you can see that the spreadsheet is zoomed in, and of course I will have to arrow to the left and to the right to get to the different columns to resize them. So for example, now I can get between column D and E and drag column D to the appropriate width, and it's much easier to see. Once you've made your changes, you can set your zoom back to 100%, which I'm doing now. I'm clicking on View, and right next to Zoom is 100%. I can choose that one, and it takes me right back to the default setting. If you choose a different zoom, you can once again click on Zoom and then click on Custom and type in the percentage of zoom you would like. In this example, I'm going to type 150 for a 150% view and then click OK. As you can see, now the zoom is at 150%, and if I want to bring it back to the original, I can click on my 100% option. I will now continue to resize the columns as needed for their header title. Of course, by doing this, it will stretch the view of the spreadsheet beyond my screen. I can, of course, arrow to the right to continue my process so that I can complete all of them at a size that is desired for me, which I can always change at any time. As you make changes, you should continually save your file. I created my file prior to entering any info, so I just need to click on the Save icon in the upper left corner of my screen. I am now moving my mouse to the upper left corner and clicking on the Save icon. But of course, if I make a change and then decide I am done, once I click on the X, I will be prompted to save my changes. I will say yes, and now the file has been saved and it is closed. Depending on your version of Excel, the save procedure might be a little different. In the next segment, we will begin entering data and learning how to manipulate the spreadsheet for appropriate viewing and management.